Okay, so this week we're in Parshat Chaye, Sara, okay? And this is a parsha all about women, okay? The parsha can be divided into three main sections. Okay, the first section is about the burial of Sara. The second section is about Rivka and the shidduch for Yitzhak. And then the third section is about this mysterious woman named Keturah who shows up and marries or remarries Abraham Avinu in the end. And then eventually Abraham Avinu passes away. So what we're going to be talking about in this parsha about women, named after a woman, is the role of women and how we can learn from these characters some information about, like, Jewish womanhood, basically. Okay, so what do we learn about Sara in this week's parsha that we didn't already know? We learn at the end of the parsha, when Rivka shows up at Sara's tent, we learn some information about Sara's tent. What's the information we learn about Sara's tent?
That her candles lasted till the next Shabbos.
Great. Okay. So there are three miracles that are happening in this tent. Okay. One is that her candle, she'll light it on Friday and it'll last until the next Friday. What's the other miracles?
Something with challah.
Something with the challah. What about the challah?
Hiding the stale.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Great. The challah stayed fresh for an entire week, and that was the third one. Barbara. What's the third miracle that's happening in the tent?
Was that a cloud?
Great, there was a cloud. There was a cloud that was constantly around the outside of the tent. Sort of like the Ananei Kavod, which surrounded Bnei Israel in the Midbar. Okay? So we have these three miracles happening. Now, according to the Midrash, these three miracles coincide with the three mitzvahs of women. Okay? Women have the mitzvah to light neros, to light candles for Shabbos and Yom Tov, so the candles in Sarah's tent stayed lit. Okay? Women have the mitzvah of taking challah, so the challah in Sarah's tent stayed fresh. And then women have this third mitzvah, which is nida, which is family purity, which was the idea of like keeping the home to a sacred place. And so there was this cloud surrounding her tent. Which actually I saw something else really beautiful, is that these three mitzvahs actually, in the inside part of the Beit HaMikdash, in the inside part of the temple or of the tabernacle, there were three parts, basically, on the inside, in the Kodesh, not the Kodesh HaKadoshim, not the Holy of Holies, but just the Holy. And there was the menorah, there was the Lechem Panim, and there was the Ketoret. There was the menorah, and then the showbread, I think it's called in English, which is 12 loaves of bread, which were constantly inside the Beit HaMikdash. And then there was the altar where they burnt incense. And so the Midrash there explains that these three mitzvahs were a representation of the Jewish woman and a representation of Sarah's tent inside the holiest part of the Beit HaMikdash, because the menorah represented the light that did not go out. The showbread represented the challah that did not go stale. And the ketoret, there would be a line of smoke, basically, that would go up from the ketoret out through a hole in the ceiling. And that represented the cloud that was over Sarah's tent. So in the holiest part of the Beit HaMikdash, there was a representation of the Jewish woman and the Jewish home.
Wow.
I thought that was cool. Okay, so we know this about Sara. We know that she had these three miracles that were going on with her tent, but we don't know much about Sarah's personality from this parsha because she passes away, so there's not a whole lot of discussion about who she was. So there's a really interesting Midrash Tanchuma, which says, it brings here that Abraham says a eulogy. He says an esped for his wife. He says a memorial thing for his wife. So what was the memorial that he said for Eishes Chaye? Great. Okay, Eishes Chaye means, okay, cool. Thanks. Ish Chaye.
Wait, I missed what you said. Who sang Aisha's Chaye?
Abraham Avinu. Okay, that was his hesped, that was his eulogy, that was his way of saying goodbye to his wife. Okay, so first off, I have a beef with Eishes Chaye because I think it's badly translated all the time. Okay, Eishes means woman of. And what is Chaye? What have you always been told that was translated as? Valor. Okay. What? Like woman of value, woman of valor. What does that even mean? So Chaye is actually a word for like a warrior, somebody in charge, major power. It's used for like a commander. Okay? So This isn't like, oh, woman of valor, like, oh, pretty flower. Like, this is like warrior power woman. Like, every Shabbos night, basically, we're singing to Superwoman. It's not this supposed to be this, like, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, like, so cute. It's supposed to be like, Eishes Chaye, like, you are powerful, you are strong, you are, like, you're something else. Which also is my beef with how they translate Sara's name. Have you always heard that Sara was translated?
Princess.
Yeah, princess, no. No. I mean, yes, technically, but Sar is what it comes from, and a Sar is a minister, and it's an administrative, powerful position. So, like, the only kind of princess that Sara could be compared to, Lahavdil, is like Xena warrior princess. Okay? Like, these are powerful words. This isn't like... And if you read Eishes Chaye, it's about, like, a woman buying some property and making some negotiations and managing her house and, like, setting up her husband for success. Like, these are not, like, and she sat home and knitted. Like, she's, like, busy getting it done. Okay? She's majorly a powerful and strong woman. Sara was a majorly powerful, strong woman. Okay? So, when we say that it was Abraham's eulogy, what the Midrash actually does is it takes it line by line and it breaks apart Eishes Chaye and explains to how each part is related to Sara. I'm not going to bring the whole thing because it's like, 22 lines long, but I'm going to bring a couple pieces that I think are really interesting. Okay, so the first part is Bata Bala V'Shala Lo Yachzar. Her husband's heart relies on her and he shall lack no fortune. Okay, so what the Midrash says this refers to is the whole story with Sara and Paro in Egypt. Okay, so what's the whole story with Sara and Paro in Egypt? Come on, day school education.
She hid, and
In
then
a
he
box.
found her.
It's the box one?
Yeah, right. Okay, great. So they go down to Egypt. What's the problem in the situation? What do we know about Sara? Sara is gorgeous. Okay, she's one of the four more beautiful women, according to the Midrash. Okay, so she's gorgeous. So Avram Avinu puts her in a box. Okay, and they go down to Egypt, and then they
Get her.
yeah, they find her. Okay, great. And then what happens? No, Paro takes her. Great. Takes her into the house. He wants to marry her. Now, why would he take Avram's wife? What's the problem?
He thought it was her sister.
Great, exactly. He had presented himself. Abraham had presented Sarah as his sister. Okay, so this was actually their whole plan going down. Abraham said, "Listen, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to present yourself as my sister, because otherwise they're going to kill me." Okay, and she goes along with it. So her husband can trust in her. Okay, she goes down. She gets taken into Paro's house, and then Paro comes in the middle of the night, wants to be with her, and Sarah cries out to Hashem and is like, "Help me out!" And an angel suddenly appears and starts smacking Paro around. And then a plague appears on Paro's house, and Paro's like, "Wait a minute, I think we made a mistake here." And he sends Avram Avinu out with a ton of treasure. Okay, so this, in my take, this story is a show of just like amazing Gevurah from Sarah. Just an amazing Gevurah. Like the most powerful man in the world, basically. Paro is like over an entire kingdom. Pulls you in to his bedroom. You're separated from your husband, you're separated from your family, you're all alone in this room, and like she has none of it. She like immediately cries out to Hashem. She immediately is like, "No, this is not me. This is not what I do. I'm not about this life." And like Hashem creates a miracle. And like she was so strong that she was willing to like go through this whole situation, and she never outed Avram. Like it would have been really easy. Like, "Oh my gosh, Paro's taking me away. Actually, he's my husband." Like she had an incredible sense of strength, an incredible sense of self-knowledge. Okay, great. Next one up is Gamat Luto Vilora Kol Yemei Chaye. I can actually read it unless I sing the song. Darshatzemu Fishtim Batal Behafis Habaya. Okay, great. So what does it mean? She separates wool and linen, and her hands work willingly. Okay? So the Midrash says this refers to separating out Yitzhak and Yishmael. Sarah saw that these two things couldn't go together. Abraham couldn't see it. Sarah did. Sara realized that Ishmael and Yitzhak couldn't grow up in the same situation. And she's the one who goes to Avram and says, Avram, you have to send them away. They can't be here. And Avram doesn't want to do it. And so Avram goes and speaks to Hashem. And what does Hashem say?
Listen to Sara.
Listen to Sara. Sara recognized that this situation couldn't continue. She had a discernment about people, which was much deeper than Avram Avinu's. It was on the level of Ruach HaKodesh. She could see who people really were. She had discernment. Okay? Kappa parsa le'ani ve'yadeya shilcha le'evyon. Okay? She spreads out her palm to the poor and she extends her hand to the destitute. She was a balas chesed. They ran an eshel. They ran the modern day hostel. There were people in and out all the time. And she was cooking, and she was making, and she was serving, and she was feeding, and she was receiving, and she was giving, and all the women are here with their questions and their things, and she's there, and she's going, and she's doing. She's a balas chesed. She's constantly giving. Okay? She's giving to the poor, to the destitute, to everybody. Okay? Oz v'hadar levusha. Strength and majesty are her raiment. Okay? According to the Midrash, these are the clouds of glory around her tent. This is her sneas. Sara was extremely tznuah. She was gorgeous. She was fabulous. She did outreach. But she was really tznuah in how she did her things. She worked with the women. When the angels come to visit Avraham Avinu, they're like, so where's Sara? And his answer is, well, she's in her tent. That's where she is. Like, Sara was an extremely tznuah person. Like, she came out when she needed to come out, but she had her limits and she had her understanding of herself. Okay? So the four midas we learned about Sara from this is Gevura. She's got strength, discernment. She can tell the difference between people. She can see who people really are. She's got chesed, and she's got sneas. Okay? 4 characteristics. So we move into the next section of the parsha, and it's time to find a shidduch. Yitzhak's ready to get married. So let's make Yitzhak's shidduch resume. What? Okay, so Yitzhak Avinu, okay, son of Avraham Avinu, Sara Menu, okay, 40 years old, time to look for a wife, okay. What's he looking for? I'm asking you. What's Yitzhak Avinu looking for in a wife?
Chesed.
Okay, great. First off, she's got to have chesed, because otherwise she's not going to fit into the family. Right? She's not going to fit in. Okay? What's the first requirement, though, that Avraham Avinu makes to Eliezer? When Eliezer's like, okay, well, we got to go find her a wife. What do we need?
Someone from Abraham's family.
Great, okay. First, she can't be Knani. Okay, no Knanis need apply. Needs to be from Avraham Avinu's family. Okay, great. Second off, she's got to be able to fit into the family, so we're going to need some chesed. What else are we going to need? Gevura. Okay, great, because we're going to look for somebody like his mom. Okay? Not in like a creepy and Freudian way, but like in a, like if you're going to be a matriarch, these are the requirements. Okay, so she needs chesed, Gevura. I just said this 2 minutes ago. Sneas. And
I forgot the word you used. But
discernment. She's got to be able to tell people. And one more requirement. She has to be a trendsetter.
why?
Avraham Avinu's family came out of like complete whateverness, and they managed to cross over to the other side and be these completely holy people despite coming from a crazy background. Yitzhak Avinu didn't have that. He grew up in a righteous family. He grew up like FFB, like Flatbush Golders Green. Yes, did I hit all of you? Flatbush Golders Green, that area in the valley where everybody's from, I don't know, and that section of Baltimore. Okay? He grew up super frum. He didn't have that trendsetter thing. He didn't have to grow up in like a crazy background and then come out of that like his mom and dad did. And we needed those genes to pass down to her children. We needed that genetic DNA to be able to be in a situation of unrighteous people and be a righteous person. So Yitzchak couldn't bring that into the mix. So his wife has to bring that in. Okay, great. So he needs to have gevurah, discernment, chesed, sneas, and be a trendsetter. Okay, great. Now those are all the things just to fit into the family. But there's a concept when we look to find our partner, when a man looks for a woman, he's looking for what? Hint, Adam Arishon. What is the ideal wife supposed to be?
Sara?
Like Sara.
Like Sara, but let's take it even further back. The first time we mention marriage, okay, anytime something's mentioned for the first time in the Torah, you can learn a klal for all of time. So what's the first marriage described like?
Partnership?
Partnership, but a certain kind of partnership. What's a wife's role?
The other half of the man.
How? She's supposed to be a something. 2 words. Yeah, Aisha's Kyle, solid. Been here since the beginning. Very good. Come on, guys. Somebody, you're gonna get married. You gotta know what you got to do.
Connected?
Are you giving them hints?
I wasn't very subtle about
Yeah.
Adam gets created. Great.
from him.
Yeah, it comes from him.
Becomes herself.
Yes, good. But she's a... Come on, y'all. Yeah, there. Okay, seriously? It's a Rashi, Meforash, that says if he's merits and if he doesn't, if he merits and if he doesn't, come on, y'all.
Oh, no.
The ideal wife is an Ezer Kenegdo, a helpmate against him. Ezer, Ezra, is to help. Neged is against. So this first relationship between man and wife is described as she will be an Ezer Kenegdo. Let's break that down. Ezer means to help. Kenegdo means against him. So she's helping against him? What does that mean? So Rashi explains there. If he's doing the right thing, his wife will assist him. And if he's on the wrong track, she goes against him like war. Seriously, read the Rashi. Okay? A wife isn't meant to be a yes man. Mm-hmm. She's not meant to be like, oh, honey, that's a fabulous idea. Unless he's on the right path. And then it's like cheerleader, rah-rah. Yes, go you, go you. But if he seems to get off path a little bit, she conegdos. Women see things much clearer than men in many, many situations. The ideal relationship in a marriage is like, I'll help you go as far as you need to go. I'll help you reach your goals. If you get on track, I will let you know. I'm going to come at you because I want the best for you, because that's really helping. If you just say yes all the time and like, that's a great idea and that's awesome and you're awesome and that's fabulous, you're just going to let somebody work right off a cliff. Right? This is the idea of like, you're trying to be their partner and a real partner has a voice. Okay, so Yitzhak needs a girl who can Ezer Kenegdo. Now, what does he need Kenegdoing on? What does he need to be like put back into place? Okay, you have to understand something about the Avos and the Imos, is they all had characteristics. Midas, this is from Rob Dessler, okay? So this is probably a concept you might have heard before, but I'm going to try to take it a little bit deeper. Each one of the Avos and each one of the Imos has a different Midah. So Avram Avinu's major Midah is
Chesed.
Yafeh, Chesed, okay. Yitzhak Avinu's major Midah is Gevura, Yira. Okay, Chesed is loving, kindness, giving, etc. Gevura is structure and fear and awe. Okay, what was Sara Imenu's major Midah? Gevura. Gevura, not Chesed. She was strong. She saw things the way they needed to be. She had fear. She had awe. She balanced out Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu was chesed, 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 chesed.
Did you mean Sara?
Sarah, what did I say?
I think you said Rivka.
I meant Sarah. Thank you. Okay? Avram Avinu is chesed, 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 chesed. Sara was Gevura. She brought it back into line. Okay, she brought it back into line. So Yitzchak Avinu, what was his midah? So what kind of girl does he need? He needs a chesedika girl to balance him out. Okay, so we're going to go with our shidduch resume. Okay, she's got to have a little bit of Gevura, otherwise she's not going to fit in the family. She's got to have discernment. She's got to be able to understand what kind of people are people. Okay, she's got to have sneas, really important. She's got to have chesed, but like major quality chesed. Okay, the first one on the list is chesed with stars around it. Okay, and then she's also got to be a trendsetter. This is what we're looking for. And she can't be Kanani. She's got to come from Avraham Avinu's family. So Eliezer leaves, with his camels, with the shidduch resume, okay? And he starts heading out towards Haran to go find the shidduch, okay? Like Lahavdil heads to Sayu at Sinai. We're going to go just find this girl. Okay. So he goes there, and he meets her at the well. Now, first he has this whole conversation with God. What happens when he talks to God?
He sets a test.
Right. So what's he set the test on?
Her ability to do chesed.
Exactly. Great. He's like, I gotta find the most chesedicha girl, because Gevura needs the balance of chesed. He's got way too much Gevura. We gotta find an Ezra connected. We gotta find the balanced girl. Okay, so he sets this test where she's gonna come and she's gonna come down and bring the water, and she's gonna water all of the camels, which camels drink a lot of water. Like a lot of water. So this girl has to be not like nice chesed, like would you like a cup of tea? Like, would you like a cup of tea? Would you like my bedroom? Would you like my winter coat? Would you like my car? And possibly, a couple $1,000. Like that kind of chesed. We're gonna give. So Eliezer makes a whole story, he talks to Hashem, whatever. Rivka comes down and does all the chesed. All of the chesed. And that's when he gives her the things. Right? Eliezer gives her the nose ring and the bracelets after he sees her do this chesed, because that's the major thing they need. If she does that much chesed, she's the right shidduch. And then he starts seeing, okay, wait a minute. Oh, wait, there's other things on the resume. Like, are you from Avraham Avinu's family? And she's like, why, I happen to be. Okay? So then they go home. By the way, have you noticed this shidduch story is insanely long? 67 pesukim. 67 verses to talk about one shidduch. That is more than it took to create the entire world, have Adam and Eve, have the Gan Eden, have them sin, and get kicked out. One shidduch. Whole world took less time to create. Okay? Why are we going so much in detail? Because you're not going to create the world this week. But you might make shidduchim. The Torah comes to teach us a Torah that we can apply. The Torah comes to teach us how to live in this world. So yeah, you're not going to create the world this week, but you are going to make shidduchim in your life. And we better just tell you exactly how this has to go down. What do you look for? What's important? How do we do this? Okay, so remember, we're looking at Yitzhak Avinu's shidduch resume. Okay, so chesed, we got it. Great. She's from Avraham Avinu's family. Got it. So we still have to look for some other stuff. This girl's got to have discernment. This girl's got to be a trendsetter. She's got to be snua, and she's got to have some gevura. Okay, let's go. So he goes home. What kind of family does Rivka come from?
Horrible.
Was it like horrible? Like legit terrible. Does anybody know what her dad's pastime was?
Yeah, didn't he, before a girl got married?
Yeah, it was called first night privileges. Anytime anybody got engaged, he would require that the bride come to his house, and he would have first night privileges with her.
Lovely fellow.
Yeah, lovely fellow. Her brother, who's her brother? Lavan, okay, trickster, thief. Like, these are generally, like, pretty foul people, okay? What does her father plan to do that night, by the way? What was his whole plan? Anybody know this?
Take Rivka.
So, like, all of a sudden Eliezer shows up, and, like, he's got major, major wealth. Right? So Lavan comes out and he's like, wow, he's got a ton of wealth. He gave my sister like all of this gold. Like this guy is bank. So what's his plan? They're going to kill him and steal all the stuff. They're going to poison him specifically. Right? So Betuel puts poison in his food and they serve this whole banquet. And the only reason that he gets saved is because basically there was a switcheroo that happened with the food and Betuel ends up eating it and dying, which is why he doesn't show up in the next morning when they send Rivka off. He's there in the beginning, and then all of a sudden the next morning says, her mother and her brother sent her off. Well, where'd he go? Well, he died. Why? Because he tried to poison somebody else. Okay, so this is like a messed up family. And what's Rivka like? Hesed, pure, innocent. She's not contaminated. She's not a part of this life. So we got it. We
How
hit
did she
trend.
not get contaminated?
She's a trendsetter. She's a trendsetter. She's got the genetics of Avraham Avinu. They all come from the same family, right? They're related. Just some people use that and some people don't. Okay? So she ends up not being contaminated, so great. We checked off the shidduch resume. We got a trendsetter here. Because as soon as Eliezer goes and sees her family and he's like, you're not like them, check, trendsetter, done. So chesed, check, trendsetter, check, from Avraham Avinu's family, check. Okay, now we've got to see that this girl has some gevura in her. So what happens is, he tells the whole story to these people. They're like, this obviously came from Hashem, the shidduch is meant to be. Okay, so then in the morning they wake up and he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go. Eliezer's like, I'm going to go, so I need Rivka to come with me, we're going to leave. And her family's response is, yeah, let her stay around for a while. You know, we have to like, you know, go shopping. We have to like buy the pillows and the throw blankets. We've got to register at Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, there's what to do here. We got to plan a wedding. We just can't leave. What does Rivka do?
She said she'll go.
She says she goes. She's like, nope, I'm out.
I'm not surprised.
But like, there's different versions of how old Rivka is in this story, okay? Some people put her as 3 years old, obviously 3-year-old then, 3-year-old now, a little different. Some people put her in her early teens. She met Eliezer yesterday. She gets that he comes from Avraham Avinu's family. She gets that he's different than her family. She gets that he's offering her a different way of life. And her response is, I'm going. Later, people. She agrees, and she gets up, and she's ready to go. That's gevura. That's the strength to know what's right and to just do it. Okay, so we had to have trendsetter, got it. We got chesed majorly. We got enough gevura to get us out of here. Okay, great. We're on our way. And she's up from Avraham Avinu's family. We're still looking for discernment and for sneas. Okay? As they're getting there, by the way, they had a miracle happened. Okay, a miracle happened on his way there, and a miracle happened on his way back. The miracle on the way there was, it took him 3 hours to travel 17 days distance. And then the same miracle happens on the way back. Okay, they go in 3 hours, 17 days distance. There's a miracle that can happen in the Torah, which basically the earth contracts. Yeah, it folds over.
Okay.
The only reason distance applies is because Hashem makes it apply. So, he folds over the earth when necessary. The reason is that, like, when you want to get her done, get her done. Like, don't hold off. So they head back, and then I think this is, like, the most amazing scene in the Torah ever. Okay, so you have to imagine, Yitzchak, like, okay, this is all windswept, okay? Imagine, like, you know, like a really good director here, like all Steven Spielberg here. Okay, so Yitzchak's out in the field, and he's davening. Okay, he's davening mincha out in the field. He's having a really deep conversation with Hashem, being like, you know, that shidduch, I need a shidduch, Hashem. He's davening with lots of, like, power and fire, and all of a sudden he looks up. He lifts his eyes, which is going to be important. He lifts his eyes, and he sees the camels coming. And then Rivka's on the camel, and she looks up. She lifts her eyes. She lifts her eyes, and she sees a man out in the field. And she falls off her camel. No, legit, she falls off her camel. Mm-hmm. Okay, according to most people, she didn't hit ground, but she, like, wiggled. She was like...
Why? Because she was nervous?
Because she saw him. She saw him in the field. And she wiggles on her camel because she sees him in the field. Now Rashi's like, why is she wiggling on her camel? Because she was bowled over at what a holy man he was. She was bowled over at the spiritual aura that he was illuminating from him. Exuding, yeah. Okay? She sees him, and she like, and then she looks at Eliezer, and she's like, who's that guy? Right? I always used to say when I was growing up, I want to meet a man who's so amazing that he makes me fall off my camel. And I did. Okay, so, so like, she sees him, and she's like, who's that guy? Okay? She gets from a distance that Yitzchak Avinu is a spiritual, big deal, amazing person. Oh wait, we just hit discernment. She just picked up on somebody's spiritual reality. Jerk. Great. There's only one thing left. So she sees this and she goes, who's that guy? And Eliezer's like, that's my master. And what does she do?
She covers herself.
She goes, veil time. Because sheker achen v'chevel hayofi. I'm not about you judging me from the outside. If we're going to make this, let's make this real. She's snua. Which doesn't mean that she, like, wears a bag over her head, or doesn't mean that she wears, like, frump clothes. It means that, like, my beauty I use, my beauty I reserve, I want to be judged for not what I look like on the outside. So we're going to meet. Let's hold that piece off, and let's connect soul to soul. Check. Snua. Okay, so Yitzchak meets her, and then the language here is really interesting, because it says he took her into Sarah's tent, he married her, and then he left her. Which is really, like, that's not how it goes in Hollywood. How it goes in Hollywood is like, he sees her. Her hair's in the wind. This is hair. He looks at her and he goes, I love you. She goes, I love you too. And then, like, maybe they get married. Right? But here, he takes her into Sarah's tent. Why?
See if the miracles will come back.
Right, because according to her shidduch resume, according to what she's presented, according to all the phone calls and the bureau ream, and does she have this and does she have that? But is she tzneua? But does she really have chesed? Does she really got gevura? Like, what's going on with her discernment? Okay, but after all the bureau ream, after all the checks, after all the everything, it looks like she's right on the page. But let's see. Because she's not just getting married. This isn't just like a little hookup. This isn't like just a little marriage. This is the future of the Jewish people. She's got to be matriarch quality. So he brings her into Sarah's tent and he's like, here's the job description. And immediately the candle starts lasting for a week. And the challah gets fresh again. And the cloud comes back over the tent. Because she's totally up for it. This is a shidduch. And that's when he marries her. When he realizes that not only does she have every single thing that she needs for a partner, and they need to create a strong marriage, but also she's got the to be actually a matriarch of the Jewish people, to be one of the imahot. She's got everything she needs, and the miracles will prove it. She can be one of the foremothers of the Jewish women. And at that point, he marries her. And then they fall in love. You see, that's actually how, when we're looking at shidduchim, it's supposed to work. First, you got to figure out what you're looking for. Then you got to figure out if the person standing in front of you has what you're looking for. And if they do, and if that matches up, then we jump to the next step, which is the lovey, mushy stuff. But after we already checked, because I need an Ezer Kenegdo. I need somebody who's going to help me get to where I need to get to. And if we're just basing it on how your hair looks in the wind, we're not going to get anywhere. I got to know what kind of person you are because I know what kind of person I need. And by the way, ladies, if you don't know what kind of person you need, then you're not going to do very well in this whole system. And things like, he's got to be from here, or he's got to be from there, he has to look like this, or he has to do, that's important. You got to know what kind of person he is. What kind of character qualities does he have? And what kind of character qualities do you need? What's important for you to make that match? Right? Okay. Practicality. Everybody. Bye, babe. I love you too. Practicality. Everybody, by the way, Rav Dessler says, everybody says that everybody has one of these midas stronger than the other. So, yeah, take your Gemara, honey.
That was like all of the penguin.
Okay. Everybody has one of these character traits in surplus than the other. Okay, so you're either more chesed than you are gevura, or you're more gevura than you are chesed. Or there's a third trait, which is emes. Emes is this sort of combination trait. It's about truth. It's about knowing what the right thing is. It's a fusion of the two of them, and that ends up being Yaakov, which ends up being their kid. Their son ends up being emes. Okay, because when you have chesed and you have gevura and you put them together, you end up with emes. So what Rav Dessler says is each one of us has to know which one we are. Like, do you lean more towards chesed? Then you need to develop your gevura. Because that's how this works, by the way, right? Avram Avinu was, which one?
Chesed.
What were his 10 trials all about?
Against chesed. Against
Chesed, towards gevura. Hashem was saying, when can you not do chesed? When I'm telling you not to. Where's your fear? Where's your awe? Where's your service? Where's your strength? Where's that part of you? Let's develop that. Like, he has to send away Hagar, which is like the opposite of chesed. He has to leave his father away, opposite of chesed. He has to sacrifice it, like put his son up on an altar, opposite of chesed. Hashem was constantly going against him on the chesed to help him develop the gevura. The same thing is going to be true, by the way, with Yitzchak. His tests are all going to be towards his developing chesed. And Rivka's tests are all about her developing gevura. Because what does Rivka end up having to do next parsha? Right, she has to send her kid away. She has to send away both of her children, basically. She sends Esav off because he ends up going off, and she sends Yaakov away to protect him, which is the opposite of chesed. She has to develop her gevura. So what Rav Dessler says is that we also have to look at ourselves and be like, which way am I falling? Which way do I fall? Do I fall towards chesed? Am I overly giving? Do I need to like balance it out and put some limits up? Or do I need to understand, or am I more gevura? Am I just like too exacting on people? Am I just too strong? Do I need to like loosen up and give a little more? We have to look at ourselves and we have to look at the people in our lives and be analyzing all the time, like where am I falling and where can I balance? Because the balance is where it's at. The balance is the emes. The balance is truth, which is actually hinted to in like one of the most famous phrases, Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. On 3 things the world stands. Al haTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al gimilut chasadim. Torah is emes. Ha'avodah is gevura, and gimilut chasadim is chesed. The world needs all 3, but the 3 have to be in balance, and we have to be in balance. So, are you giving too much? Are you not giving enough? Are you in balance? Where are you holding? We also have to work on our discernment to be like Sara, you know? We have to learn to see people in our lives and to pick up the bad. Judge everyone favorably, please. Mitzvah from the Torah, important one. But also you have to be able to pick up what's going on in people's spiritual situations. There are some people who shouldn't be in your life. Some people aren't good for you. Sometimes you have to do the hardest thing, which is send away someone because they just aren't good for you. It's a kochos, it's a strength that women have, and especially Jewish women have, the ability to see who people really are. You have a vibe, you have a feeling, you have a discernment isn't something we should let go. Always judge people favorably, but if there's a situation where someone in your life is inappropriate, intoxic, or something's not right, or you can get that the vibe, or they're pulling you down, or they're not helping you out, you've got to have the ability to say, I'm sorry, you can't be here. It's a kochos that both of our imachot had. Sara had the ability to say to Ishmael he needs to leave, and Rivka really gave it to us. She was able to see it in her own child that Esau was not okay. She was able to go against her own motherly love to recognize that one of her children was off and to separate him out. The other thing we need to learn is to be a trendsetter. To be able to come from an unrighteous place and be righteous. Not be set, not be worried about the family that we came from or the society that we live in or like what's going on around us. Be a trendsetter and stand out. Be able to find the righteousness and be able to say, like, this is not who I am. I'm not about this life. Now, hopefully most of us don't have it coming from, like, our inner family, like both of our emo did. Hopefully it's more distant. Hope it's just the culture, it's just the YouTube, or it's just, like, the Twitter, Insta, Face, Snapgram. But, like, we've got to be a trendsetter. We've got to be able to pull out of the society around us and stand out. And of course, the one that nobody wants to hear, we've got to be tznuah. Modesty is power. Modesty is power. Being tznuah is powerful because it takes all of that beauty and all of that amazing thing that we have, all of this incredible force that we have, and it channels it. And you get to decide how to use it. And you can use it for the holiest, most amazing purposes. Tznius is not something where we're being oppressed or we're being held down or we're being like told that you're less than. Has v'shalom. Like these women were Ezer connected. They were partners with the Avos. Like we don't say like be like Abraham and Sarah. We say like be like Abraham and Sarah. Like these are women who are extraordinarily valuable. Being tznuah doesn't make anybody less valuable. It makes them more valuable because their beauty is a power that they control. The outside is something that it's a sword that they can wield, and they treat it as such. So we got to use our discernment. We've got to use our ability to be trendsetters. We've got to use our ability to be tznuot. We've got to use our ability to balance our gevura and our chesed. And we've got to use our mitzvahs. We've got to light our candles. We've got to bring down the holy. We've got to make our bread. And in the right time and in the right hour, we've got to like create houses of holiness. Because the thing about the Jewish woman is that the Jewish woman is insanely powerful. So much so that every Friday we got to sing about it. Every Friday, everybody has to sit around in silence when you're hungry and you're cranky and you just really want Kiddush to happen and hear 22 verses about how epic the Jewish woman is. And how strong and how powerful she is. And how she's like Sara Menu. And how she's like Rivka Menu. And how she has this amazing ability to create an Av, to create a father, and to create a nation, and to like completely change the world. And actually the Midrash says also that the only way we're going to get redeemed is by women being insanely powerful. The Geula is going to come from the women. The redemption is going to come from the women. If Mashiach ends up showing up, it's going to be because of the righteous women of the generations. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to stand up and, like Friday night, hear our battle cry, Eishes Chaye, we're soldiers. Like, get it on, get up, suit up, let's roll. Like, be the incredibly, insanely powerful Jewish women that you are. Use the tools that our Imos gave us. Use the tools that our foremothers gave us in order to light up the world. And hopefully, bring Mashiach. Amen.